since yesterday,
Okay.
and body pain.
Okay.
प्राणायाम करते रहना जरूर.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
That's the only way which will
Yes.
keep you away from.
Yes, ma'am.
Your voice is looking very tired. Divya, get well soon.
She's got COVID, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think this is your time because ours is over. We also suffered a lot.
Athi, you also got that?
Yes, ma'am. Just 2 or 3 weeks back. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The mid-January I got.
Mid-January. Good, but not, I think that's severe, no? Tabhi the
That is
recovery
not
is faster.
that severe, ma'am. I had
Very
maybe 1
good.
or 2 degree temperature, but it's better actually.
Very
And
good.
because of this pranayama and this thing, I think it was not that much suffering actually.
Very
Thank
good.
God.
Good, good. I don't know whether people are joining or not. Let's begin.
34, ma'am. We can wait for 1 minute, 7:35 we will start. Ma'am, you are from Delhi, ma'am. You are in Delhi?
I am in Delhi. Yes. So let's just give you the overview till the time they all join in. Vidya settled? Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I settled.
Okay. So, like we were talking about yesterday, that after communication, one thing which is very important for understanding of coaching better is change. So, because that's what will happen at any point in time, whenever we are taking any course, we have some goals in life, we have some objectives that we have to fulfill. What we are looking for ourselves is basically a change to happen from what we are today to what we are going to become. So that change actually happens in different kind of phases. And many theorists, many scientists, many people who have studied change in detailed manner, in deeper manner, people study psychology, so people have studied change also. That how can change happen in different kind of people, and hence they had derived certain theories of change. In management, we have 7 theories which talks about different kind of models, how it can be used for change to happen in person, or how you can actually take care of the change using these models in people. You can evaluate because one person's change would be different from the other person's transformation. So how you're actually going to map those transformations, or how you're going to measure whether the things have happened, how from phase 1 to phase 2 the person has reached. So these studies or these theories are going to talk about that. So we are not going to go into the details of all those 7 models which is of management. There are 2 or 3 particular models and theories which is very specifically designed for coaching, right? 1 or 2 we have taken from these management models, which I wanted to share because when I had used these 2 models of change management, of management, which we generally utilize in organizations to change the entire organization, it has worked for coaching also, and they are very simpler to use. Plus, there are two coaching methods, two change management methods, which are really, really very useful for coaching, used by extensively by coaches all around the world. So once you understand these things, along with the change, the styles of coaching that we have studied and the models of coaching that we have studied, these three things. So then the entire package of coaching is ready. Then you want to choose your content, you want to choose your subject, for which subject you want to become a coach for, and then you can utilize all these methods and styles and models and then become a better coach. Right? So that's what we are going to talk about today. हैरानी की बात यह है कि जिसने टाइम चेंज कराया, शी इज द वन हु इज नॉट जॉइनिंग द क्लास. इमेजिन. The rest everybody is here.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, it was comfortable. 3:30 to 5:30 was comfortable actually on Sundays.
In case she doesn't join today, then we will move back to 3:30 to 5:30.
Yes, ma'am.
That's okay with me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what is change management? Right. So what is the understanding? So first, let's understand from all of you that what do you understand by change management? Then I'll tell you in details that what exactly does it mean, how it is to be implemented, what are the phases and changes that happens, right? So let's understand. Don't go into this definition mode which is written here. It's just a management definition. By your understanding, what do you feel that changes?
The changes after understanding something and what we make it, ma'am. The changes in our attitude or changes in our speech or how we plan things, the changes that happens, it is called change management as per my knowledge, ma'am.
Good. Vijaya?
Change management means we are planning for anything we are going to make ourselves. We have to planning, that is called change management, ma'am. The organizing, that are the things we have to do.
Okay, the things that we have to do, or anything that we want to maybe increase the knowledge in us. We want to change the behavior of somebody, or we want to change something in us. Even if we want to bring in something new habit.
New habit.
Right. Suppose we have learned yoga from last 4-5 months. So now yoga is a new thing that has added in our life. Right. So there would be a phase which would be pre-planned phase where you had goals that why I'm going to do this course, what I'm going to achieve from this course. And now after 4 and 5 months later, what do you feel that how much this course has actually given you the importance? So what is the kind of change that has happened in physical sense, in spiritual sense, and in mental state also, right? So this is what is called change management. So basically a transitioning, like the definition says, the scope of the project, what was there and what needs to be done now, whether it has met your objectives or goals, what was your requirement of the change, and whether you have met that or not. From that, the transition is basically called change management. Second definition talks about that change management also involves application of different structured methods. Right? Like just before starting the class, I said that there are a few applications which helps us in measuring that how the change is actually happening in the entire segment. Suppose when you started this entire course, right, we provided you syllabus for the course, that this is a chapter wise thing that is going to happen. We provided you study material. We generally ensure that the PPTs and notes and assignments are being sent to you. So all these things are being given to people just to measure and see whether the change is actually happening in them or not. Right? So from syllabus, you can actually note down that first 4 months the yoga classes were going on. So whether I have learned these asanas, how much mastery I have taken over in these particular. So you can map yourself, right? So your objective from doing nothing to knowing something, then going into a deeper mode, and then finally learning everything what you have to do. So that is your change which has happened. It has taken place, and that's why it is called change management. Right? But it's just basically the change, transformation which is happening. Now, how do we manage this change? So managing this change will take going into a little deeper state of this, understanding what are the phases that we have to go from pre-planning stage to whether we have learned or acquired all the objectives or not. We will going to be talking about that. So these are few change models. Like I generally said, initially said that there are few from modern management that we have taken. So this is the first one in management. Also, this is the first one that we generally talk about, learn about very quickly, very easy one. Generally, this is how the change happened, but the way Lewins has actually explained it in three phases. He talks about that there are three phases in change management. Number one is unfreeze. Second is change, where the things are happening, and then refreeze. Right? So how things happen in this particular change management? Number one, like unfreeze is recognize a need for change. That we have set a goal or objective for ourselves that we have to make certain changes in us. Second is we determine what are the needs to change. Right? First is need, and then what is the need. Then encouraging the replacement of old behaviors and attitudes. Right? So let's continue the same example that at one point in time you recognize a need that my body needs to change. So for example, Divya keeps saying that I want to have me time for me, and that is the reason why she started joining the course for the very first time. So that need of change was that I need something in me which is missing. Then she determined what she's looking at. So she was looking at more me time means development of self, right? Making some changes in the self. Third was encouraging the replacement of old behaviors and attitudes. That means there was something which was not physically moving in her properly. Or maybe, there was something that was not mentally giving her contentment and satisfaction in life. So that is the reason why she wanted to understand that how I can replace certain behavior, certain attitudes, certain habits so that I can acquire something different in my life. Right? Fourth, Ajata, then ensure there is a strong support from management. So now, because it's a management model, that's why this word being used. How can we change it from?
Family.
Yeah. So maybe family, maybe teachers who are going to join us and giving us that support, mentors or coaches who are going to help us. So strong support, one is internally. You have to push yourself. Every morning getting up and doing yoga is basically a motivation which is required. If somebody has never done that, it takes huge amount of energy and time. Suddenly you cannot be waking up at 5:30 and started doing that. It will take. There is a phase which will happen, and that's how it is going to happen. So you might need support first from your internal self, motivation, intrinsic motivation. You have to bring in those motivators which can help you. Then you can always get support from the coaches or mentors you are going to classes for. Right? You are going to join classes or whatever way you are going to learn. And then obviously the family support is the utmost important. Right? By the time you are attending the classes, there would be a tornado which will be happening in the home for some people, right? So that's what family support is all about here. Then Ajat, fifth point, which is manage and understand the doubts and concerns. So what are the doubts which are going to come? What are the concerns which are going to come during the process of when you are planning to bring that change in you? So generally, unfreezing is basically unclearing the mind, unclearing the things that is there which is happening in your mind from the way things were being done before. Right? Also, we can also call this stage of unfreeze as unlearn. That means whatever you have known in the past, whatever you know before, you're just taking it out, shedding it out, so that you're creating a space in your brain, you're creating something in your memory, you're creating something in your subconscious mind which can bring in new learning. Right? So that is unfreezing. Then happens the change. That's exactly when the things have started taking shape within you, which is called first planning the change. So planning the changes that you are actually bringing in goals and objectives to it. That what is a goal for me to align with the change? What are the things that I'm going to do? So giving it a structured feeling. For example, the syllabus of the course that we give you, right? How the lectures are going to happen. what kind of classes we are going to have, the time management for the classes. So all these things are planning the change. Then implementing the change in very simpler terms. So now you have started learning. Now you have to put everything that you're learning into actions, right? Then third point in changes that help employees to learn new concepts or points of view. So employees here are basically the students who are learning. Right? So now then when we are actually using coaching and change management, how we have to use is we have to see whether they are understanding what you are trying to give them the concepts of. Everything that you are introducing to them, whether it's a yoga asana, whether it is something that you want to teach them a new technique, or you want to teach them about how exactly the goal setting has to be done for themselves. So all these things you have to ensure that they are understanding the concepts in a detailed manner, right? So side by side checks. Good morning everyone. Then आ जाता है आपका third phase, which is refreeze. So हमने unfreeze किया था, which is unlearning. We had taken out everything before learning something new. Now refreeze means we are going back to the same thing. That now we have acquired some new skill in me. I have acquired something new in me. The change has happened. I have implemented the change also. Now I just want to relearn. Right? Refreeze. Refreeze कैसे करते हैं हम रेफ्रिजरेटर में अपने? How do we do refreeze in refrigerator? You have an ice box, right? So what you do for the first time is that you take out the ice box and clear it. You take out the ice which you need. Then you put some water, fresh water into it, and then you again put it into the freezer to get refreeze. Right? So the similar thing is change management. You have taken out that ice box, you have cleared it, then you have put in some water, which is a fresh knowledge, fresh learning, fresh change that has to happen, and then you are sending it to refreeze. So refreeze means whatever you have learned so far, new things, now you are stabilizing them in you. That means practice has to happen, but consistently. Then integrate change is a normal way of doing. So integrate change in you in the sense that everything before the change, the way your routine was before the change, the things that you were doing, now you are not doing exactly the same thing, but you want to acquire this change in a manner that it looks normal for your routine. Right? For example, if before this particular course, I don't know how many of you were actually doing yoga or practicing it in the morning hours, right? But after the course has been learned, then obviously, there is an implementation of change which has happened. You started doing yoga with Kavita ma'am for 4 months. She was teaching all those things. And then refreeze means that what you have learned, now you are going to put it normally in your lifestyle. Getting up at 5:30 or 5 in the morning, incorporating all those asanas in you, what is necessary for you, understanding how your body wants to heal with these asanas. So you are integrating that change so that it looks very, very normal for your routine, for the change to happen in a normal way. Then other third point of refreeze is develops ways to sustain change. Right? Learning is very important, but keeping it going on for longer period of time, sustaining it with us, is where the challenges are. Right? For example, again, I'll give you an example. Suppose a person comes to you that he or she is going through difficult time in their life because they are drug addicts. So how do you think that you are going to introduce this change, or how do you going to notice the changes that person has actually learned something from you or not?
Based on his that is talking to us, we can find out whether any changes have been changes have happened to him. Based on her advice, maybe he her mood or her way of talking.
The feedback or ma'am, the changes the person is getting or the result we are.
So what will you notice in the changes? Suppose you are giving them coaching as a coach, you are telling them these are the things that you have to do, right? So using this Lewin's change management model, how will you ensure that the change is happening?
His behavior, ma'am.
What would be in the unfreeze mode? What will you notice in unfreeze phase?
What is really to be changed, ma'am?
Yeah, that you know it's a drug addict. So obviously he had come to you, he or she had come to you because they want to leave taking drugs, right? Now, how will you do in the change phase?
How can we make him to change? What are the steps we have to take to
Yeah,
make him the changes?
correct. So what are those steps that you will introduce to a drug addict?
Maybe pranayama. If it is some mental the disturbance, it will be pranayama or some asanas too. Exercise and walking maybe.
Correct.
And
Then how will you ensure that the relapse doesn't happen? He or she doesn't go back to becoming a drug addict again.
Ma'am, practicing yoga nidra, ma'am.
Okay, practicing yoga nidra. So this is the change that you are helping, right? If you are in the second phase, where you're talking about that this is how the change is going to happen. They are going to implement the changes. Now you have introduced the changes to them. You have introduced the what do you call it? Remedies to them. You have given them all those things that should be put into action. How will you ensure that the relapse is not happening? Is going to happen in refreeze. From a person who has been in habit of using some substance abuse for their body, now has to go clean. Correct? The body has to become clean. How will you ensure that this person is not going back to the substance abuse that they were doing or drug abuse that they were doing? How will you refreeze that? How will you make sure that things are not going back to the same thing that they were? Can you go back to the same person that you were before these yoga classes or before this YSI course? Can we go back to being the same Muskan, same Vidya we were before? कैसे
Yes.
कर सकते हैं? How can you do that?
Yes, ma'am, we have to monitor them. We have to give.
अभी सो के नहीं उठे हैं सब लोग है ना अभी still in the sleeping mode.
Like it is written in Refreeze that we can celebrate success. So we can show him the changes that look what a better person you have become. So,
Yeah, very good.
by looking at the changes that I have become such a better person, so why to go back to these substances? And develop a system.
What else we can do?
or else we will just explain him how the change happened and what made him to change. That is, what are the steps we are given to change his behavior or something. So just explain him and give him the feedback that he has become very good now, and ask him to continue that.
Right.
And we can advise the person to teach others to, because though that he will not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Motivate by examples, ma'am. We can motivate the person by example, giving
Very
examples.
true. Yes. So you can introduce some stories, success stories. You can introduce him or her to the people who have already faced certain things like that, right? Who had made those changes. So we have to ensure specifically for such people, who are going through a lot of abuse in their life. The abuse can be because of drugs. The abuse can be because of people. The abuse can be because of the society. So there are different things that happens in people's life, right? So all the diseases also in our body, maximum chances are that all those diseases would be related to these abuses that has happened in their life. Some people.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am, sorry. So sorry.
No problems. Yeah. So, a lot of things in our life. So, imagine now you have a new person who has come to you who has been facing child abuse since he or she was a child. And now they have got married. Right? A child abuse which has never been treated, child abuse which has never been cured. And then suddenly now this person is getting married and she or he is facing a problem because they have never shared that problem with anybody else, and that's the reason why they have come to you for coaching. So what is it that you are going to give him in a package? What is it that you are going to introduce using this change management model? How will you ensure that the change is happening in that person? Think about it, Tina. Let me know it later. This is just a question. Okay.
Ma'am, can you just rephrase it one more time, ma'am? Sorry.
So see, it's a very real life example that I'm sharing with you. There was a person who came to us and he said that he had faced child abuse when he in his childhood, and by a very close relative, right? And child abuse in the sense the child sexual abuse was involved by a very close relative, and he had never spoken about that abuse to anybody, nobody in the family. Once he tried to give the hints to his parents, but they never understood. So now, after so many years, the abuse happened, I think, for 2.5 years, and then after that, he got into the normal routine of his life, and now he was getting married. He was at the age of 27, where he was planning to get married. So now he had so many apprehensions. He was so not ready for getting married purely because of that abuse that happened in the childhood. So if I imagine approximately for 20 years, 22 years, he was living with that child abuse in his mind, in his brain, right? And because of it, he had acquired a disease, not disease actually, he used to face a lot of backaches, right? Whether it was attached with that child abuse or whether it is because of something else, that we have to find out, right? So what do you think that you are going to help him out using all your coaching knowledge, yoga knowledge, and this change management model? How do you think, how will you ensure that the change is happening? Is the question.
Okay.
Or basically, it's a case study, right?
Okay.
First and foremost thing with this person is we need to invest more time of talking. As you said in your case study, the person has tried to speak it out, but there wasn't any concern coming from the person whom he has spoke out. So we have to build a confidence to this person. Karke, see, if you're going to talk to me, it's not going to be the same story. Your previous story, they did not listen to you, they did not help you, but that's not going to be the case with me. I'm going to help you come out of this situation. So first have that, confidence with you that you're going to be helped out. Your mind is going to, those two words which you introduced now, I'm going to use it. Your mind is going to get unlearn all the past incidents that has happened in your life, where you're going to bloom as a new flower of today. And all this is going to help you forget the past and live the present as a new book. So that sort of a confidence, first of all, we have to build in him, because he or she should not have a perception that, okay, to whomever we are going to say this, they are not going to care about it. It is going to be an untold story, or the chapter is not going to be opened. We should not create, we have to take that thought out of his or her mind, so that, they start speaking out with more confidence. There's something new happening to them.
True. So good. So this is how you are going to start. Then what are your things that you are going to do in the change stage? Which means the solutions that you are going to give them. Think about it. So we are not in a hurry to discuss it today. Take your time, think about it, and then come back to the solution. Right. When we are in a hurry and we start jumping to conclusion about this is how we have to solve the problem, is generally not the way of solving the problem, right? Give it time, think about it, and let me know. Right? Study about in details what kind of asanas can bring that mental peace that we're talking about, what exactly the person is looking at. See, unfreezing the person has initiated already. That means they have selected a coach, they have come to somebody outside their home. That means they want the solutions to happen, right? You have to help that person identify what kind of goals you are going to meet with this person. You will finalize and find out what kind of requirements this person has and how much you are going to help them to achieve that as a coach. And because not everything, not 100% of things will come from you. The faith and trust that he has lost in his parents because they could not understand, you cannot build that up. Right? It has to come from that. So, what are the things that you're going to introduce to that person so that his trust is built back in the relationship or with the new relationship that he's going to form? Because marriage is something which is so troubling in case your mind is not at peace. If you're not at peace with yourself, how can you get married to somebody else? Right? So, what are the things that you are going to suggest? So, go deep into it, think about it in details, and then come back with solutions. Yes, Vijaya, you wanted to say something?
Ma'am, I just want to know the person who got married and not able to happy with their present life. You are telling he's the problem he's having.
No, he's getting married. He's not yet married.
Okay.
He likes somebody.
He was afraid of that previous one.
Yes, he's very afraid that what would be the impact of my
I understand
childhood.
what are the struggle here. In
Correct.
child, it was recollecting. Okay.
And imagine it's a he, it's not a she. So
okay.
That's a different story altogether, right? So this is the kind of cases will come to you.
We have seen lots of she's, ma'am. He's
See, from the outside, he is at peace. He shows that. Maybe he has learned over the period of time that he had spent on learning whatever has happened in his mind or with his body. So he has, what happens is we compromise with the situation. So after 2-3 years of abuse, we try and compromise with the situation ki chalo jo hua na, let it go, it has already gone. But it doesn't go from our brain. It doesn't go from the memory. Right? Every time something like this you hear, you know about, or you get to know about these things, the things start repeating in yourself also. Right? So that's the kind of impact. We can never know that impact if nothing has happened with us, thankfully, right? So you can get to know about the impact on abuse, especially child abuse of any form, whether physical abuse or sexual abuse, only when it has happened. So you can actually never put yourself into their shoes and think ki ye bhi ho sakta hai, right? So the pain, the frustrations, all those things, the loss of faith and trust. If it is a very close relative, imagine that close relative has shaken the trust entirely. So many things have happened, mentally, physically, both. We have to prepare him to get married, right? So that's the thing. So we'll go into the details. As soon as we finish it, we will try and solve that thing also. Yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
So, ma'am, there will be a difference when it is happened to men and women. There will be a lot of difference.
No, there is no difference. See, child is a child. Gender, though we have described. So in childhood, whether it's a female or a male, we generally have these inhibitions in our mind, or we generally have these stereotypes in mind that a female going through abuse is going to be a lot more in pain. It's not really the case. For men, it is even more difficult to describe about that particular abuse is purely because they are men, they are boys.
Correct. You are correct, ma'am. Yes.
They cannot even talk about. So at least women ke saath the girls can actually speak and people can understand that a girl has gone through the abuse.
Yes, correct.
But society is like that. With the man, it's even more difficult. Right? So that mental state, you have to think about that. Then how you are going to bring peace, calm to his life, right? So this is the model of which we were talking about. So it's in details that what are the things that is happening in each stage, what needs to be done. So unfreeze me, according to Lewin, a lot of preparation happens for the change, right? So preparation like goal setting, you're going to do, you're going to listen, you're bringing them questionnaires. So all those things that we have studied, you are actually going to do that now. Yeah. Right? That you are getting somebody ready for the preparation to happen. Second is change. That means that this is the change when the real transition is happening. That your body is undergoing change, or your needs are undergoing change, your habits are falling apart, new things, new developments, all those things you are bringing into you. Refreeze is then accepting and embracing what has happened. Right? For management terms, I tell you how we generally use it. Unfreeze mein what we do in organization is we discard all the policies and processes which were not working for the organization completely.
We will revise it.
Yeah. Then in change, we will bring in something new. So, for example, if an organization never has used technology, so we will then introduce that technology into the entire system completely. We will change everything. So, we will create new policies, we will give new processes, we will ensure that people have learned, we will give them training and education on those things. So, that's how the developments of the changes will happen in the organization. Then, refreeze me. That means you are going to entirely change some new policies. The new policies will now talk about technology, the use of technology, in what are the processes that you can implement that you can ensure that people are started using those things. Right? So that's how things are happening in organization and person. Obviously, in personal level, it will change a little bit. Right? So that's Lewin's method. Second method of change management theory is a very important change management theory of coaching. This is very much extensively used in coaching is Kotter's change management theory. So it has 8 steps. Right? How the transformation is going to happen from the very start to the end, where you are not really motivating the person has accepted the change and everything. This is how these 8 steps actually talk about it. So number 1 is basically creating. So if you see these 3 steps which is written over above it, it talks about 3 phases. First phase is creating conditions for change. Right? Second is introducing new practices, and last is maintaining the momentum. The same thing which happened in Lewin's, right? Unfreeze, change, and refreeze. Now, what are the steps that generally happens in this particular change management theories? Number 1 is he says that let's increase the urgency in somebody. How do you increase the urgency in somebody for change? That you have to motivate them, right? Like we always tell from outside that suppose you have to lose weight. Let's take a very simple example. So for losing weight, increasing urgency is that you can actually wear a good dress after losing the weight, whatever you really is looking forward to wearing for a long time, you have not worn it. So that's the kind of urgency that you can bring. Or you have a marriage which is happening in the family and you really want to look good. So that is the kind of state of urgency or motivation or anything, goals or requirements we can set for people. Then second is building coalition. What is coalition? Coalition is basically what are the things which is required for the change to happen in you. Right. So generally in organization terms, we use it that the team building has to happen. Who are the people who are going to be part of the team for the change to incorporate? So what we do is in individuals, what are you going to do in building coalition is?
Is it something related to cooperation or teamwork or something? No.
Yeah, it is related to that, but in individual, if you are coaching one person, how will you build coalition?
Yeah.
What are the what do I need?
Weight, for example, for weight reducing, what are the ways we are giving to reduce the change?
Yes. So what will you give to that person?
What we are going to plan for them to reduce, to overcome that problem.
Okay.
What is that we are going to do? That is asanas or something. What is that? That's what we take.
Diet
Yeah.
or
Goal setting are we talking about?
Goal setting will happen in vision in the third step.
Okay.
Building coalition is basically what are the materials required for somebody to lose weight? If we are continuing with the same example, right? So
Okay.
Increase urgency, you did it. You showed them a goal that this is what you have to do. You have to bring in that motivation, that urgency, that now it's the time that you have to lose weight, right? Now, how are you building coalition in their thing is that you are introducing them to the right coach.
Okay.
Okay? You are
How to
bringing
make it?
them,
Okay.
correct. Then you are bringing a different kind of things. Maybe you are, gifting them a skipping rope. You are giving them some gym thing, training sessions, anything that. So coalition, when we talk about in management sense of it, is that we are building in the team which is going to help you to achieve your goals. So for individual, these are the things that is going to help that person lose the weight, right? So coalition means getting into collaboration. Coalitions mean forming new relationships. Coalition means uh, whatever, bringing in that entire stuff which can help you achieve your goals, right? Then vision. Third is vision. What is vision?
Does how we are going to be once you lose weight, how we will be. That is the vision, ma'am.
Yeah,
Something related to the goal.
correct.
Showing the way or visualize the way or the plannings we are going to do now.
Right. So if we say that, if I ask you this question, what is your vision for yourself? Maybe related to this course?
In the this course.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe my goal is to become a good life coach.
that's a goal. Now, what is
Yeah.
the vision?
Okay. Okay.
My vision is to enlighten the minds of young people.
Correct. So, goal is to bring change in people's life. Vision is who are the people you are going to create an impact of, right? So, for example, if you want to become a coach, what kind of coach you want to become is the vision, right? So, you want to become a successful coach is a goal. But how are you going to make an impact on people's life is what? So, maybe by 2030, I want to reach approximately 10,000 people is vision.
Vision. Okay.
Right, so that's the kind of thing. So vision for weight loss is going to be what now?
Kgs. So before this time, I'm going to reduce this much kgs.
Correct. So
50
you
kgs
show
or
them
something.
the pictures of some celebrities and this is what you will look like. That's the kind of vision that we are going to do. You are going to show them something that people have reduced weight and they look like this. Physical health has improved, mental health has improved. So all these things, visionary means that you have to show them the vision, that long-term vision is going to be wonderful, right? Apart from the goal that you have. Then communication.
Explaining what is our vision, ma'am.
Yeah, explaining the vision. What else?
A comfortable language,
Change. Yeah.
does it play a role?
A comfortable language, correct?
How to give motivation, positiveness about it. It is possible for him to reduce.
So think about the change in your mind, how the change happens. Right? You had that urgency that we introduced. Now you have the equipments through which you have to lose weight. You have the vision, how you actually want to look like and how many kgs, what are the things, right? Now, what is the communication?
Correlate all these three together and put them in one single frame and explain them. See, we have this vision and we have opted these equipments or something which is going to help you get down the weight. And when we are, see this, a family get together where you state the urgency, all these three things put together in a frame, we communicate to them in such a way that we have all these things on the plate, so let's do it.
Correct. So basically, it's the problem solving thing that you are bringing it to them, right? The solutions that you're communicating to the people. And how you're communicating is the art of coaching that you have to learn. Right? Like I always say that it's kind of a favorite phrase that how do you package the deal is how it is. Right? So suppose you know that somebody is getting married in your family, a close relative, a close friend, somebody. So how do you do? What kind of efforts do you use in packaging the gifts for them? What do? We pick up certain gifts. We do try and choose very good wrapping paper. We try and use different kind of ribbons. All those things, all those efforts. So this is the same efforts that we are going to introduce in coaching in terms of when you have to do the communication. Communication, like we learned in effective communication, has to be polite, firm, yet you have to be very strict on the schedule. You have to make them understand that the sessions have to happen for the change to actually happen in the world. Right? Then other next step, which is enable action, which is like now you have started to introduce. So till communication, you have just spoken, you have introduced, you have talked about it. Now introducing new practices is enabling action in them. So enabling action is them that you're now actually on the stage where you are teaching them asanas. You are introducing all those techniques, what you have learned. Correct? Suppose if somebody has come to you and has no problems, no diseases, no ailments, nothing, but they had come to you for coaching, then how are you going to package the entire deal?
In the name of discipline, daily routine.
To maintain the same thing, because in future if anything changes happen also, if they continue like this means it will not affect their like that.
Correct. So you will bring in continuity in them, right? But like
get
Ranjani
to-
said, you will help them get into discipline more.
To get to know the body more better.
Yeah, you can help them find out their physicality is a little bit more good. What else you can introduce? So let's go through the details of these 8 stages, right? How will you increase urgency in somebody who has no agency? He or she has just come to you because somebody recommended, go and try. So how will you increase that urgency?
I think we can show the person that we can means more flexibility, or just like asanas, shavasana is there, which can brings the peace to the mind, and such type of things we can
We can show that person as a role model for
A person who has taken the yoga for a very longer period of time in his life, say for 30 or 40 years together. And I would suggest, I would take an example of an elderly person who had practiced it right from a very younger age and had traveled till the elder age with no ifs and buts in his life throughout until at that time. I would show that person as an example and say, if you really want to avoid even a small ifs and buts in your life, whether it be physical or mental or any form it might be, even as I said, a small time management, a small discipline, when a small thing like a punctuality, a small thing like a consistent mind, firm mind. So all those very, very small things which we feel that these are all the good attitudes that we have to inculcate in ourselves to sail in a safer, smooth boat, you will be able to achieve it when you inculcate yoga as a part of your daily routine and your life.
Yeah, very good. Very nicely explained, right? So you will actually see, we should not forget that change management theories we are learning or we are talking about is to see how the change will happen in a person, right? But before that, you are going to do the same steps that you were doing, you were planning. So, like, questionnaires, interviews, all those things that we talked about earlier, the same steps are still going to be followed. Right? So, from your questionnaires, from the interview method, or from sitting behind the person and understanding all those things. Sorry, just give me a minute. My battery is going. Sorry. Right. So what I was saying is that you will still follow all those methods. You will still follow the entire way of doing coaching. In the sense, taking interview, asking questions, asking the right kind of questions, intriguing them into telling you more about themselves. So when people start sharing things about themselves, then you start finding a little bit of problem. So if the body is 100% fit, even then you will find certain things. So like, Ranjini said one very nice thing, that discipline in life. Very few people have that kind of a thing. Or maybe for longevity, we can introduce certain things, right? We can always ensure them that for yoga can actually help you, not just right now, maybe for future also, that no ailments or diseases will come to you, right? Pranayama obviously is a wonderful tool. We can talk about that, how the air quality is going very low. People are using air purifier. If you keep doing or practicing pranayama, you won't need those kind of things, right? Spending time in nature, all those relaxation techniques, they can introduce all that, right? So that's how you're going to do. So enable actions is basically you are enabling the action in people now through the things that you have found out through the methods that you have used earlier, right? So you will put all those things in action. Whatever you have communicated, the deal that you have packaged, now it's time to put them in use. So you will design your sessions. You will see how in each session the person is doing. You will give them review and feedbacks. You will keep monitoring the changes in them. That's how it is going to happen. Sixth is quick wins. So like, in last one we said that celebrate karenge success ko. So this is the same thing, that quick wins means that if somebody has lose 200 grams in 3 days, so you will tell them that, okay, this is the result that has come out of this particular asana. So if we introduce more difficult ones, like, Divya was saying yesterday that weight loss ke liye we will use power yoga. So that power yoga stage tak pahunchne ke liye you will have to show them these quick wins, that this is a small win that you have achieved. Now this is the small win. If you make a little discomfort in your body today doing these asanas, you will have much more chances of losing weight in future consistently, right? So that thing. Seventh step is basically don't let up, which is like maintaining the momentum. So don't let up means that don't let anybody go back to the same person that they were. After you have put in these 7 steps into them, 6 steps into them, now it's the time that you buck up. You give them that kind of a different motivation, that now you've reached this state, don't ever go back to the same person again, right? Because there are chances with that when people find a solution in a coach, in a psychologist, or in a psychotherapist, people tend to fall back to the same, being the same person again the moment that relationship ends, because they get into the habit of getting involved with a coach, with a mentor, with somebody, with a trainer. So the moment that person goes away from their life, they go back to the same. So how do you ensure that that is not happening is, even after the sessions are over, try and keep taking feedbacks. Just give them a call or bring them, ask them to come and meet you just for a review. Don't charge for those sessions if they are not ready to, but just because you want to make sure that the success is happening, what you are going to do is feedbacks, reviews, follow up. So these are the things which will help them maintain. Because if you will be involved, and after a period of time, after a certain period of time, there would be a time when you would be easily be able to move out of their life very comfortably, and still that change will happen. So this is what things generally happen. Then last is make it stick. So now make it stick is, again, you have to bring that motivation in the person to let it stay with them for a longer period of time. जैसे for example sports coaches में होता है, if you have seen sport coaches, how these things, how they ensure that the change is happening in somebody's life, right? They actually follow these steps, and then at the end they ensure that the person has actually become a better player, right? If they want to become a better batsman, they have become better batsmen. They have changed the techniques of how they used to bowl, and now they know how to do bowling. If they are in football, then something different kind of steps, right? So for example, that movie, I don't know whether you watch Hindi movies, all of you, or not, that Chak De India. So what he actually used to do in Chak De was basically, this entire movie is used for coaching. It's a very good example of how coaching is actually being done. So he was polite sometimes, he was very strict, he brought in that urgency in them. He showed them a vision that what will happen when you become better players. The communication was happening at various stages. He was enabling action. All those things that we talk about in change, it was actually happening there, right? So that's the reason why Chak De India is being used by management people, coaches everywhere. They generally show this movie, they take out different steps out of it, and then they show it, right? That's the entire thing. So these are the details of what we have discussed. So increase urgency is motivating, bringing a state of urgency so that the person can move forward. Right. Second is building the team, which is coalition. So team can be the equipments here, because we are talking about personal sessions here. Getting the correct vision, it is a state which is related to, by taking into the account that the strategy is actually helps them in bringing creativity, emotional connect, physical connect, everything that you want to create change for, right? Communicate, obviously you all know that how you are going to communicate to them, what are the things that you are going to get involved into the communication. Then get things moving is support, remove the roadblock, implement feedback. Focus on short-term goals, very important. Give them very smaller rounds, so that short wins basically is short-term goals that you are going to give them. So if your entire session is lined up for 6 months, now you are going to introduce weekly goals to them. Don't give up, be persistent. That's the thing. And last is incorporate change, so reinforce. Reinforce again is a lot of motivation that you have to incorporate in their life so that they become successful, right? So for a change to happen in anybody, these are the things that we generally do. All right, so let's take a 5 minutes break. It's 8:30 sharp. 8:35 we'll get back. Yeah, have your breaks and come back quickly. Then we
Okay,
will
ma'am.
do 2 more methods and then done.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Still on break or back? Okay. So after the first two theories, which is generally used for management also, and from there we have used them in coaching. But this particular theory, which is intentional change theory, is meant for coaching. Right? It talks about personal changes, it talks about self, it talks about agenda for making changes and bringing changes in one singular person at one point in time. So this is how this particular thing is designed. So let me show you the diagram first. A little complex it looks, but this is how the diagram for intentional change theory, or in short we call it ICT also. Right? So we will move to the diagram later on. First I want to make you understand that what exactly it is. So in intentional change theory we talk about what is the ideal self that we have. Right? Ideal self is basically what? What do you understand by the term ideal if we use it in?
Correct or perfect?
Yeah, so a perfection state for ourselves that we keep looking, or we have a vision for ourselves that this is how my body will look, this is how my mind should be, itna satisfaction I have to bring in my life, this is the kind of peace I want to introduce. So, these are the various things that we keep talking about. So that's exactly is an ideal self. Right? Then there is a new self which is called the real self. Correct? What is real self now? How it is different from ideal self?
Ideal is real is what we are now.
Yeah, very true. Very good. Right? So real is basically what actually we are. Right? And what is the comparison? What is the assessment of my strength and weaknesses? What is it that I want to create new in me? Or what will take or require for me to do something different so that from my real self I reach to the stage of ideal self? Right? That's how the change is going to be measured properly, right? The measurement or evaluation of change, then actually you would be able to see very clearly from that stage. Third point इसके अंदर intentional change theory में आता है, which is very important, is a learning agenda and plan. Like we have been talking about it in all those theories, that what exactly is the goal, what are the requirements, what is the plan, how I'm going to take forward the learning that has to happen. Then fourth point is experimentation and practice with new behaviors. Right? So from your real self, if you want to become ideal, what are the new behaviors that you want to incorporate in you? What are the thoughts? What are the new feelings, new perceptions, new belief systems? Totally different kind of people, right? More unforgiving, right? After you have learned that theory, that technique of forgiving people, so you have your body and your mental state is changing. Now you're not the same person you used to carry all those burdens of not forgiving people. From now you're a forgiving person. Right? So all these new practices and experimentation is going to help you reach to the visionary state that you want to be. Then last is trusting or resonating, that all those relationships that you have enabled, the experience, the process, that discovery is in the process so that you can actually reach to that ideal self. Right? Now go to the thing and now think. It starts from here. Discovery one is my ideal self. Who do I want to be? Right? Second is discovery two is my real self. Who am I? So now you have never written it down that who exactly I am. So it is a time when you are actually working on this theory. You start writing down in detail that what exactly is me. What are the needs? What are the requirements? What exactly I am at this point in time? part of discovery 2 is that what are my strengths, right? Is there any way, if I can incorporate changes in my strength, can I reach my ideal stage? Is there any similarities between me, who I am right now, and who I want to become? Is there anything that is there? For example, you keep a role model for yourself, right? Suppose there is a role model that you have in your life. It can be your parent, it can be teacher, it can be a celebrity, anybody, right? So now in order to reach to that level of role model, you will see some similarities in you, and you will find out that what exactly is the matching point that I have very common with the same person. Right? So this is what we have to do. So you have to see all those strengths in you. You have to find out and see what are the opportunities I have, what are the strengths I have, which is very similar to the real self or ideal self. Discovery 2 ka another part is my gaps. So because you are doing a complete evaluation of self, which is like using SWOT analysis, which you've already done. So what you will also find out is what are the weaknesses that I have, what are the threats which are there, how I'm going to encounter. What is the difference between me reaching to that stage? What are the things that I have to acquire in me? Then third point आता है हमारा discovery agenda. So now because you have the list with you of the gaps that you want to fulfill from your ideal self to your real self. So what you do is you will build that agenda which can help you reduce those gaps. Right? So for example, if you want to acquire somebody's body, or maybe you want to change your physical state, like this is my body at maybe say 70 kgs right now. If I become 55 kgs, how my body would look like, right? So your real state is 70 kgs, but your ideal self is 50 kgs, 55 kgs, right? Keeping in mind your height and everything, all those things. And so now you have found out gaps, that there is a 15 kg gap. Right? So how do you do that? Now, so discovery 3 is learning agenda. What are the things you are going to incorporate so that your gaps are reduced? Right? Discovery 4 is new behavior, thoughts and feelings through experimentation. Right? So now, after you have the agenda ready with you, you have built on your strength. Now you want to bring in the new changes. So whether I'll do these yoga asanas to reduce weight, if I go for walk every morning, if I have cycle, can I go cycling? Right? If there is a lift installed in my building or wherever I stay, or maybe in office, I can start using stairs. So all these feelings, experimentation, all these things now you're introducing for you so that you can reach, right? Fourth stage discovery ka is creating and building new neutral pathways through practicing to mastery. So now consistency. That once I have got to know about what needs to be done. So for example, I have introduced cycling in my entire schedule. If cycling is really working for me, right? Or if Surya Namaskar I have introduced in my life and Surya Namaskar is actually giving me good benefit. So that means, can I increase the consistency? Can I start using it from 15 minutes to 30 minutes now? Right? Incorporate that change in me so that I reach to that level where I want to reach much faster. Right? Then last is that resonate relationships that help support and encourage each step in the process. In between, like you see why it is in a circle, because circle says that at every stage we need a lot of support and help from outside. It can be from people, it can be from equipment, it can be from methods, it can be from processes that we have to introduce. And from discovery 2 to discovery 4, last point, at every point in time, that support and help and relationships have to be built. Without that, we cannot reach to our ideal self. Right? So that's the theory, and that's how you will help people find out about themselves. That's how you are going to help people see the change in happening them using this method. Right? Can you do that? Any difficulties understanding this?
No, ma'am.
It's by far the most common one. So when you get certification from various coaching institutions, this is the theory that they actually teach in the entire course. Right? And then obviously there are certain psychology related things which is introduced with intentional change theory. Like I said, we will also do that. I will tell you those jargons that we generally use. I will tell you the meaning of those words from psychology that you can help in coaching sessions also, right? So now the next part of this theory, intentional change theory, is basically collaborating it all. Okay? How are you collaborating everything all so that you become what you want to? So there are basically two states in each one of us. Again, a little bit psychological, but generally, in normal terms, we generally use positive thoughts and negative thoughts, right? So otherwise, the jargon which is used in a psychological point of view, it is called positive emotional attractors or negative emotional attractors, right? When there is any change happening in us, or we are introducing any kind of change for ourselves, there are chances that you will have a lot of PEA happening and a lot of NEA happening in you. So, what subconsciously, that is the reason why the name of the theory is intentional change theory. So, intentional means that intentionally you are trying to build in you are more positive emotional attractors, right? And you will reduce the amount of negative emotional attractors which are happening in your body. In very simple terms, you will try and avoid all the negative emotions which will come to you, because our mind has a capacity of having 70,000 different thoughts every minute.
Mhm.
Imagine 70,000 different thoughts, and by nature or batani, I don't know how, we are built like that, that maximum of these thoughts are negative or not so positive. Right? Till the time you get into that practice, till the time you actually start negating your negative emotions. So what happens is when we are introducing some change, a lot of sounds start coming from us कि यार नहीं होगा, सुबह नहीं उठा जाएगा, getting up in morning is difficult, I really can't do this, what will people say that this age I am trying to reduce weight. So different kind of things, nobody
And
has
most
told.
important, ma'am, is start from tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll do it. So procrastination is very, very important thing that actually happens change ke saath,
Like
right?
New Year resolutions, as he
Correct.
said.
Yeah. So, any change for that matter, it can be a very small change. For example, even if you have brought in, suppose, new microwave in your home. So, using that microwave because you've never used, you will still take some time to actually start using it. Right? In enthusiasm, you can still do it, maybe warm kar lenge usme, do something like that. But to actually start utilizing that microwave for cooking is going to take a lot of time because you've never done that. The habits that we have is to use and cook in a stove, right? In a gas stove only. So that will take time. So whether it's a very small one or large one, these negative emotions are always going to be there in our
Yeah.
mind. So what intentionally we have to do is, what I make our coaching students practice is that whenever a negative thought comes into your mind, even in your meditative state, when you are going into meditation or relaxation, you try and shoo it away. Like, when a dog comes or somebody else comes into your life, how do you shoo it away? You say, shoo, rahat, whatever words that you use. So try and get into this habit of using those words and shoo that thing away and say it loudly. Don't use it in your mind. You can use it from the words. Because when we use the words, that means we are actually telling something to go away. Slowly, we will get into the habit when we are shooing that away. And then after 7 or 8 days, you will see that negative thoughts have not, the frequency of negative thoughts have already reduced from you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So that is how it is generally happening. So when the change is happening, that is the reason why it says that arousing the PEA allows a psychological physiological state of being open to new ideas, which allows movement to the next discovery. So if you let that positive emotional attractor move in your body or move in your brain, in your mind a little more, it will automatically help you get into the new ideas or to become the new you. In contrast, if the NEA is a feeling of obligation, that means the negative emotional attractor is going high in your mind, in your brain, that means it is going to stop the sustainability of any change. So even if you want to make an attempt to create that change in your brain, it is not going to happen, right? Purely because the motivation to do something comes from within first. Right? External motivation works for us in the second step, but the first step that we have to get motivated to do something comes from us. No matter how many people tell us that lose weight, look good, wear that, do that, but you don't actually do that till the time you do feel from your own self, right? So that's intrinsic
If we practice
motivation.
it for 10 days, then we will have an urge that see why we are living like this, why they want to do this.
Correct. So slowly you start getting to know. And
Yeah.
any change is good for long term when it comes from within. So that within thing has to happen in a positive manner. What we have to intentionally do is let the positive emotional attractor work very, very smoothly for you in a normal way, right? So last way, how it concludes is basically in the real self, there should be an emphasis on your strength. So for example, today what I am, I need to know what my strengths are. Right? Then I have to stimulate PEA in me so that what I want to build upon, I am filling that gap and I can actually build upon my ideal self. Right? That's how people change. So when people say that there should be a comparison between two people, that how Jyoti Prabha is very similar to Vijaya or Vijaya is very different from Rakhi, obviously this is going to happen. You cannot be like any other person. There cannot be a comparison between how you are and the other person are.
Yes.
Comparisons can only happen with you, what you were yesterday and what you want to become tomorrow. Right? And that's the best form of healthy comparisons that can happen with us.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
And this happens actually talks about this entire change that we want to bring in. Why do we do comparisons for ourselves? That what I was yesterday, are you the same person that you were at 15 years of age?
No, ma'am.
Right? You're not, you have changed. A lot of things have happened. You have transformed into a new adult, a much mature, much better, much understanding. Now, from here, what you are, whatever age you are at today, now after 10 years, do you want to be the same person? You want to remain the same that you
No,
are
ma'am.
today?
No, ma'am.
Only Jyoti man don't want, everybody else, they want to be the same person?
In few aspects, I want to be the same person.
No,
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
not talking about few aspects. We're saying, see, few aspects remain same. Even when you were at 15, you are still, there are certain things which you still have, right? So your physicality will not change, the eyes like you
And
have.
not talking about the age also. Not talking about the age also here.
The age will also not change, don't worry. So if you keep practicing yoga, age will also still remain the same, right? You will still look the same that you are. Right? So this is up to you how your positive emotional attractors are working for you, and certain remains will stay the same. But still, you will find that you have changed into more mature person.
Matured.
Right? Your nature has not changed. You're still that loving. You're still love to laugh. You love to go out, play. All those things you still do, but you have become much more mature. So, there is a very good saying which says that after 40 years of age, you start feeling that whatever happened in the last 20 years is basically the learning which we have taken. So life has started now at 40. And many people believe that. Now, this is what has happened, that last 20 years has given you that knowledge that you wanted to acquire. All those experiences and circumstances that you have faced helped you in becoming a better decision maker, solving the problem much more better way. Right? So that maturity has come. So now, after the life which we start living at the age of from the age of 40 is going to be a different experience, because you don't really, it doesn't matter what people are talking about us, right? Because it has never helped. So now you are getting into that mode slowly, that what people are saying is absolutely not really going to affect for my life. Yeah? And I'm not talking about the people who are supportive, but people who generally are just at the outside and keep giving that negative emotional factors, right? So this very beautifully, this theory can actually help you find out how much your coaching is helping the person in reaching the stages that they want to reach. So you can at least use this one. Then there is the last one which talks about TTM. I will not do today. I'll tell you the nudge theory. So nudge theory is again not really difficult one. Again, it is taken from the management theories of change management. It basically tells that you have to nudge somebody or encourage somebody, inspire somebody to bring that changes in you, right? That generally in organizations, how we generally do use nudge theories, either we give them negative reinforcements or positive reinforcements. So negative reinforcements means that suppose there is a new policy we have incorporated in the entire system. So now negative reinforcement says that if you don't follow the policies, there would be fine, or there would be some attendance issues, there would be certain issues that they will be doing, right? So warnings and all those things. Positive reinforcements talks about the rewards, the recognition that they will get if they follow the policies to the T. Right? So this is how you can actually help people. So you can nudge them, introducing these negative and positive reinforcements in their life, keep encouraging them so that the changes are happening in their body and mind and soul. Right? So nudge, the English meaning is basically nudge, that you are actually telling somebody. Right? Then last one is Adkar theory. So Adkar is basically a full form is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Right? So certain things would be common in all change theory because we are obviously measuring the change which is happening. We are seeing that how the transformation has happened. Right? But only the methods that they are using to see that measurements or how the change is happening is different. So in this Adkar method in model, how we can actually see the changes happening in people's body or mind is, we can talk about is awareness. Again the same thing, what is the need, what is the requirement, what are the goals. Desire, again the same thing that we had spoken about in the last few slides also, that you have to give them that motivation, why they want to bring that change, what is the desire, what are the needs. Next is knowledge, knowledge of how to bring this change in them. Ability, that whether they can incorporate change on a regular basis, how they can incorporate that change, how many sessions they have to attend, how many classes for yoga they want, what kind of walking exercises they have. So suppose somebody has a problem in their knees, right? So what kind of yoga asanas and other exercise you are going to introduce for them is according to the ability of the person that can be incorporated.
They have problem in the knee, is it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Knee. See, first and foremost thing is relaxing. I would encourage them for a Savasana session initially to relax their body, because I strongly believe that a sort of a stress in your body is the major cause for pain in any part of your body. So to get rid of that stress, I prefer, or I think Savasana to start with. Then slowly after Savasana, we can go ahead and start with them for a woodcut asana for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And slowly the asanas that are there in standing, because standing and sitting would be the preferable asanas. It gives a stretch for your legs right from your thighs until your tip of the toes. So I feel when there is a good stretch given, the Hastapadasana, where it's going to be a full down touch, where your entire the calf muscle, the hamstrings, everything is going to get stretched, and it is going to relax your knee. So once they are comfortable with all those stretching asanas, like you're sitting Paschimottanasana, sit and complete forward bend. So all those sorts of asanas, they feel comfortable. Slowly we can take them to the next levels where they could do Vajrasana. I prefer Vajrasana as the second stage, because with the pain in the knee, they won't be able to, sit and do asana where there is going to be a bend in their knee, and where they also have to sit down on the floor. So I prefer standing and doing. First is to relieve their stress, Savasana. Next is few small warm-ups, which is going to get their body really working with no ifs and buts here and there, full swings and all that. Then the third one I would prefer is standing asanas and sitting asanas, where there is no bend in the leg anywhere. Then fourth stage, I will take them to the very basic bends, not tougher bends like the eagle pose, the pigeon pose and all that. Very basically the Ustrasana, Vajrasana, the Ardha Vachindrasana. So all those where there is a very small hit on the knee. Then finally, after a couple of months, where they feel themselves comfortable and where they feel themselves a little regenerated, we can take them to the next stage of asanas, like Virabhadrasanas, where you need to bend and stay in the postures for a longer period of time.
Yep, good. Right. So see, the point was that anybody has any inability to do physically. That means you are going to incorporate the change on a regular basis, keeping in mind what is this person capable of doing at this point in time. Right? That is the reason why we discussed about this particular knee pain thing. So there can be a lot of different kind of problems people can come to you with. So like joint pains. We are just talking about one knee pain only. Now people suffer from joint pains all over their body. So now whether they have the ability to perform certain asanas or till what level you can actually help them in terms of building in new something. So it totally depends upon the ability. So this particular change model totally talks about that the change has to happen. It has to
We have
happen
to set
regularly.
we have to set a goal, ma'am. So
Yeah, so the goal
once
has already happened in awareness and desire. Now ability changing is that action में आ रहे हैं, we are into action, but we are into action as per the capability and ability of the person.
That's what the action is, whatever the goal, this asanas or goal, this one we are setting it. So the action should be based on that to reach that goal. That's what I'm trying to say.
Correct. So just think about it now that you have to help somebody lose weight, right? And they have come to you for coaching for losing weight, but they have a problem that they have a pain in all their joints. So how do you help them now get into this? How will you reinforce that the change is happening? How do you ensure?
We will that is, we have to select asanas wherein that should not affect, that should not increase their knee problem. So like starting with Tadasana, and see, if we go for forward bend, we have to make the asanas not very classical, but we can do some modifications in the asanas. We can ask them to bend the knee, bend the leg, and reach the posture, that is touch the leg or something. We can modify the asanas without hurting their knees, or without what to say, without making the problem more complicated. We have to restructure the asanas, and we have to give a practice.
What are the asanas you can introduce for joint pains? Tell me, where the people have joint pains. How will you ensure? If we are not talking just about knee pain now.
Okay.
So weight loss for a person who feels joint pains. The joint pains are, how many joints are there? This elbow, this hand, wrist, then maybe your fingers, yeah. Then your knee, ankle, shoulders.
You can give Sukshma Vyama, ma'am, to macro level and Stula Vyama, Sukshma Vyama, that joint exercise mildly.
Right. So you will start with that, correct. Right. So before we actually come to the real problem that they want to lose weight, we will help them find out that how they can incorporate changes for their joints to work properly. Right. So then slowly that all those movements which can help them use their hands, like Ranjani said, little bit of stretching that you have to introduce, Tadasana, because there you are not really actually putting pain to any of your joint. So slowly, design your entire coaching style design your entire sessions in a manner that you are not really bringing in difficulty for them, and you are introducing everything as per the abilities, correct, of that person. So when something comes, so again the first thing, foremost thing is listening, right? That means you're finding out the troubles, you're finding out what exactly is the problem. Then second is that you will pick up your own style. How do you want to go? Whether this person is very submissive, so you can actually use, a style where you can actually become either very authoritative or instructional, because then person will follow it because they are already very submissive, right? There are chances that because he is in that mode of submission all the time, so they will listen to you, your instructional style more, and they will find and adopt that in their method. Then you will choose your change model, right? Which coaching model you want to use. Whether you want to help them in using grow setting, you want to use smart goals to set the goals, what are the things that you want to do, right? Then at the end, we will come to the change management process, because now you have introduced, you have communicated that this is how the sessions are going to be planned. Now you will measure the changes that is happening in them using these methods. Correct? So that's the entire journey of how the coaching should look like. Now, whether you want to incorporate it with your yoga coaching, you want to incorporate it with meditation coaching, you want to incorporate it with normal life coaching, it's up to you. So the methods are going to be same. Content and knowledge or skill that you want to incorporate with these methods is going to be totally your area of specialization. So tomorrow, if you learn something new, like you learn Reiki, you learn EFT, you learn pranic healing, all those things you want to incorporate now with your yoga life coaching sessions, you can easily do that. It's just that the way you were planning it has to change a little bit. Your session will get a little different, right? So entire planning will go, right? So that's how you can incorporate anything. So see, the best part of learning through management models is basically it can help you incorporate n number of things into these, right? Because the models are standardized. It, like if it talks about awareness, so it talks about awareness that you need to be aware about what are the need and requirement. If we talk about desire, then it talks about desire, that you want to, what you want to become. So from your ideal self, from your real self to ideal self, what is the journey that you have to take? Knowledge is basically that change that has to come. And this is the stage where the coach are going to play a major role. So this is how I am going to bring the change in you. They will make them knowledgeable about each and every aspect that I am introducing this technique. So for example, when we use Reiki as a technique for helping somebody, so we tell them in advance that we are going to use Reiki. Because Reiki is something, it's a energy kind of a thing where you cannot use it on somebody without their permission. You have to take permission whether you want to use it for them or not. Right? Without their permission, it will not have that effect. Then after that, you will give them a little bit knowledge about what exactly the Reiki is, what are the symbols, what are the methods that we are going to use and incorporate. Right? So this is how. Similar thing is with meditation techniques. So you are incorporating meditation techniques. Or suppose now you know somebody has a joint pain problem. Joint pains, maximum times, that means emotions are stored in the joint. People are very less forgiving. Maximum people you will find who have this problem of joint pain, out of 100%, 70-75% of the people have this problem, that they are very, very less forgiving. They are keeping all the emotional baggages on them, right? So that's when what you have to do is you have to give them different techniques of meditation where they become more forgiving. First for self, then for others. So that whiteboard technique that we did for others, you can do it for yourself. Because the first person we hardly ever forgive is ourselves. Right? A lot of guilt we keep carrying with us. A lot of things that we don't even say. We talk about mistakes we know we have made, but we have never spoken about that. Right? So remove those things using that whiteboard method. So you can help people in different ways, and then so that their body becomes ready by the time, and then you can start giving them different asanas. So a combination of beautiful asana, a combination of relaxation technique, and a combination of your talk discussion, because your words are going to create a lot of impact on how people are going to take that change in them for a longer period of time. Correct? So these are the methods. There is one method which is left, which is TTM method, which we will do next because it's very long. It has 5 stages and it talks about so many different kind of things in it. Right? I wanted to show you certain pictures and maybe a case study related to this method, how it has helped. So intentional change theory and TTM methods are two psychologically based methods which are used very intensively by coaches all across the world. TTM is very popular method used by Westerners more. It was incorporated in India, but it is used more by people outside India. Right? So this is how, and it's a very beautiful theory. Once we go into the details about it, talks about changes in a normal manner, but it talks about the stages like, initially we are all resistant to change. So we always say, I won't or I can't. So from the journey of I won't, I can't to I will is how the change is actually being. So they talk about these things only, the stages. Yeah. So that's
Ma'am,
what we
I
are
have
going
a
to do.
question, ma'am.
Yes, please.
So we were discussing the nudge theory, right? Let me put an example. Okay, I have implemented unknowingly, not knowingly. I came to know that this is called a theory only after you told me, but unknowingly, I nudge my daughter. Okay, it is not like I keep repeating the same thing every next minute. Not that case, but at least once in a day or twice in a day. A small example is put back the things that you have taken from a certain place to the right place where it has been come from. So, this is a smaller example, but when you are going to do the same thing in a bigger perspective, when I keep telling even the small thing back and back twice or thrice in a day, the nudging creates a sort of irritation, right? For maybe for few people, I don't know. So how do we handle that?
Okay. So see, we mothers are born nudgers, right? We keep doing all these things. That's a habit that we have incorporated. And generally, this nudging that we do at home is not very encouraging. See, if you read in nudging theory, it works with somebody when it is encouraging, it brings that motivation in them to do something. What we do is we criticize more, right? We tell them instructionally that this is how it has to be done. When you start bringing in encouragement around that if you do these things, your room is going to look good. Like that's what I tell my child. I don't do anything for him. He has to do it himself, whether it is making his bed, whether it is actually putting all his books in a place or in a rack or in almirah. It's his job. And if his room is not looking good, what I do is I close the room, I put a lock to it. Then he asks me, why are you doing that? I say, because it's not really looking good and people have to come home. They will come and see your room also. So it is not really creating a good impression on me. That entire house is looking spick and span, and then your room is the only one which is odd and out. So he started learning from that. Right? This is the kind of encouragement. So without nudging, you are giving nudging, but it's a very positive one. Right? So become inspirational. See, children learn from what we do more than what we say. They will never believe our words because हम ही नहीं करते हैं. Lot many things we keep saying, but we hardly really put into practice. Right? So that's what with the kids, it's a different kind of thing altogether.
Yeah. Now I understand the difference between criticism and
yeah. So instructional will never work with them. Trust me. I have used all these things on him. Then I learned a different style of parenting, and then I use it on him. So this is how you keep bringing in, and every child is very different. So what has worked for me may not work for you. What has worked for Jyoti ma'am, it will not work for Vidya's kids whenever they will happen. Right? So this is how parenting. That is why when people say that I'm a parenting coach, I have learned the art of parenting, all these things never work. Few basic principles can work. Then don't become friends of your children till the time they are 16, 17 or 18. But after that you can become friends. Before that you have to be a parent. Right? You are that guiding star in their life. So become that.
And I too also use the same thing for the kids yoga, ma'am. I will not force any kids to do any. I will
Correct.
just I will encourage the kids which are not perfectly also. I just encourage very good means the kid which is not doing and watching this now, and he will voluntarily come and do. I too also will do this. You how I am doing like this, they will tell.
Yeah,
So
become a kid with them. That's the best part about teaching yoga to kids. We did one session for 2.5 months for kids during that Corona time period. They were stuck in a hostel.
yes,
So they invited us to do yoga for them in the morning hours. So it was very encouraging. Not really very small kids. They were relatively 13, 14, 12, 11 years of age. So different age group, starting from 7 years till 13.
yes.
So we did a lot of fun actually, That time was actually a fun time for me also because I also became like them. What I used to do is janbuj ke, when you're practicing yoga, I used to fall down. So they will also used to fall down. So all these things, it was a huge garden that was available to us. So lots of fun. And slowly after a week, 10 days, they started enjoying these sessions. Then we introduced moon meditation to them one night when we were just sitting across. It was a full moon night, and they said, "Ma'am, what specially you do for full moons? What kind of meditations?" So I think at the end of the thing, and the good feedback I got from them, from their parents, that now every full moon night, one or two of those kids have started doing full moon meditations. So that's the kind of encouragement. So you teach them in a fun way, they will learn much more. The kids though are best students, especially at the underage till the age of 10. Starting from 3 years to 10 years are the best students you can ever have. Not in a regular school wala format, different things. School wala format becomes irritated. Yeah, because schools keep nudging you now to complete the syllabus, follow these rules, give instructions. So that nudging from school keeps happening in such ways. So it becomes very difficult.
Particularly for teachers.
Yeah, for teachers, I'm saying it gets very difficult. Yeah, today becoming a teacher is different kind of mental ball game that you're going to play.
Kids are very much learned about how online class.
Nowhere nowadays, teaching has become a service. They don't,
It is
the
not.
person who has recruited us also doesn't treat it as a service, nor the person who is doing also. There are few people don't treat that as a service. That is what, I feel that's the major cause for the stress
It
for the
is
profession.
because education has become a business.
Business,
Right?
yeah.
So people who have opened up schools now are businessmen. They are not teachers. Earlier, teachers had the principals of the school used to have so much of power in terms of what are the rules, regulations. Today, they are reporting to management. Management has come from a background where they learn, understand profits only. Service ka meaning they don't understand. So how can that education can have? That is the reason why education is going through such a different phase these days. Imagine it's the third year when the schools are not opening. What is going to happen? Okay, so coming back to the case now, which we were talking about. Which one? The child abuse. So think about it and tell me. We have 10-15 minutes, we can discuss that. What comes to your mind now?
The first thing what we have to do is, apart from that is making him mentally that is mentally relaxed, and also to make his back pain not that is rectify his back pain.
Sorry, did get you. Repeat it once again, please.
Ma'am, yeah. See, the thing is, we have to make his right, that is his back pain. We have to rectify his back pain, and also we have to motivate him to forget all the events happened in the past and need to start a new life from now.
Actually, so first we have to encourage the person that it is not a mistake, because they feel guilty that so we are done, like we are in this that stage like that, but it was by accidental, and we should tell them many peoples who are good compared to that person. We have to tell that in life we should be, there will be bad and good, everything will be there. So we should take the guidance from the good people. Don't We should not think about the bad things. It will hurt yourself and you will not be able to. So just small things, and we have to talk to that person. What are the afraid inside him? What where are he's feeling? We have to talk everything, and in every places, what are the positiveness to change that negativity. If he is going outside anything, he is feel that person is very good character or not, he will be very shy in talking with them, everything. So we should we should tell them by talking a small things, you can able to understand. If the person is immediately touch you or immediately giving means, you should be avoid like that. If the person is genuine means, and if it is talking like genuine things, you like means, you can continue like that. You have to take small things like that, ma'am. From the starting itself, you can you have to remove the afraid, remove the things.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Vijaya said, that is a very good point. To make him understand that whatever has happened is not his mistake at all, because that realization will get him through all the guilt away from his mind and body. Once your guilt comes out of yourselves, you will be feeling like you are free from all the bondages that you had been experiencing throughout this long period of time. And one more thing Ms. Vijaya said about, we have to work on each and every small perspective, like when he goes out, how he feels, when he talks to somebody, how he feels, when somebody touches him, how he feels, when he wants to, eat something, how he feels, because he could have experienced that bad thought. If we grab something and eat, what would something had been mixed into it? See, those kind of thoughts and all will definitely get into such kind of a people who had a bad experience, few years ago, right? So
Correct.
we have to sit and analyze and talk and spend a lot of time with him in each and every small aspects.
Also, there will be a talent with that person. So we have to change the mind to concentrate on different activities. And nowadays, lot of movies are coming to keep on remembering the bad things. Sometimes if you see anything means, the child things which we happened is also we can recollect it when seeing that. So whenever that means, we have to immediately, for example, if I got anything bad from him, I come out myself and go. I am very much interested in drawing, and I am very much interested in listening. Means I just go and change that for a 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and take whatever the sweet things, any drinks, any water or anything. We just divert that situation immediately. That is the small things we can, before giving the practice everything, we just check with them what is the routine life, how what are the daily activities, everything we have to keep on for monitoring, talking with them. What are the things, small things also we have to
good healthy habits, eating habits also we can concentrate, because as much fresh he is on his diet, as much fresh is your mind going to be, and we can also inculcate the mindful walk. Let him, as you said, the positive attraction theory and all that, we can also talk about that. More than getting or pouncing into yoga and meditation with this kind of a person, we need to spend a very longer period of time one-on-one, talking, and unlearning and all those aspects need a more concentration rather than getting into yoga asanas and meditation. I would say it would take a longer period to go there.
Ma'am, also checking for the barriers. As you said, he looks normal, he looks good, but deep down there are some situations that triggers the past. So checking on all those situations, that what are the situations that make him upset or make him remember all the past, and restricting them or removing them.
Right. So, like very, very beautifully you all said, and this particular point that Muskan has brought in, he was actually afraid of getting into sexual relationship with his wife. That was the point of pain that he came up with. That, one of the thing that I feel at this point in time, that I will never be able to get into a normal sexual relationship. And for a marriage to work, that is also very, very important part of it. Right? So this is a very good point that Muskan had said. Very nice. Yeah. So, again, when you are encouraging somebody to share more about themselves, you have to go back to the first class. That what are the things that we have to see from physical point of view, mental point of view, social point of view. That what is the impact of that one incident which has happened in life for quite some time, and how the things have changed after that. What kind of person, if he remembers that he was before that abuse, and how things have changed after that. So, what are the hobbies that he or she has stopped completely? What are the things that they had loved to do but now they are not able to do? So, like eating also is very important. Some people who have felt who have gone through very different form of abuse actually stop eating bananas after that. So it's a very common factor. Right? So if somebody has gone through sodomy, so sodomy act is an act which is performed, an unnatural act on kids is performed, where people use their penis to go into the mouths of the children. That's how the child abuse happens. So that's sodomy. So people stop eating bananas. That looks like it gives us an effect. So imagine that how things can shape up for people. We cannot even imagine till the time even I got to know about these things, because so this is the kind of different things that you will encounter. And sometimes people will just come to you for normal yoga sessions. Eventually, when you start talking to them in your coaching session, you start building the relationship, then these things will start turning up to you. That this is what I have faced, this is what I've gone through. And these child abuse, as much as we don't want to talk about it, has happened with so many people. I used to get very shocked initially that, oh my God, this is the kind of platform we are in, that so many people have gone through it and they have never talked about it because the parents were not supportive. Right? So one thing that I have learned from all these things is I listen to everything that my son says, no matter whether it's a joke. Even then, it's a very important factor that you have to have that trust with your kid. Imagine a child who is bringing up, who you have nurtured for so long, and that child has being nurtured with this value that nobody trusts me. उसको बड़े होकर by the time he is 21 25, what kind of feelings that person will have, what kind of personality he or she would shape up. Then he will always look into different kind of things from other people. He will always keep bothering about not having complete trust. He will always be bothered about getting dependent on other people's opinion about themselves. So they are a normal person ever. Right? So to find that maximum potential in a person, that is the reason why I say that yoga asanas you can introduce, meditation you can introduce, but your talks, you have to learn the art of coaching from your communication. Build your communication so beautifully that when people will come to you, they will see that Muskan is a friend that I have. Ranjani is the person that really can understand my problem, which nobody has understood. Right? And somehow, if we have gone through similar circumstances in our life, we tend to get attached to that person a little more. In fact, the understanding happens very fast. So it's not necessarily a child abuse or a child abuse that you have gone through, but something in your past that can actually trigger. those feelings that, okay, yes, I understand how you have gone through that. It's something which has happened. Right? So these are the things that you have to encourage. So that is the reason why loss to knee pain, to diseases, to abuses, to domestic abuse. Abhi, when we go into domestic abuse, again, it's a totally different kind of ballgame altogether. Right? One case would never be similar to the other case. So totally different kind of things you have to get involved into. So your mental state should be so calm, so nice. You should be working on you so much so that you don't get involved into the entire process of that emotional trauma. Right? Because most of the time, initially, coaches face this problem is we become so emotionally involved in the entire process that our mental state gets into a toss. But that cannot go on for a longer period of time. Hence, you have to keep working on yourself. So keep working on yourself is like introduce a lot of meditation in you. Perform all those yoga asanas which helps you relax. Right? At least 20 minutes every morning. Once you do that, wonderfully you can help the world change for betterment. Right? Lot of things can be done. So imagine 7 new coaches we are preparing. So 7 new coaches, even if you touch 700 people each, so there would be so many different people you can touch upon. Right? So take it that way, do the service, earn a lot of money, and do good things for others.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. So Wednesday we'll meet 7:30, and then you are going to perform presentations, all of you, and there should not be any absentees. If you're getting stuck in office or something, let me know in advance, then we can arrange your session.
About, ma'am, was it communicated in yesterday's class? I haven't seen the
No,
YouTube.
the presentation is due since I don't know how many classes back. 4 or
Oh,
5
the
classes
first
back.
ever presentation you're talking
Yes.
about. Oh, okay,
So
okay.
I'll just repeat it. The diseases.
Huh.
From diseases, you have to tell the goals. From goals, your own personal leadership style that you prefer. Then from that, your leadership model coaching model that you want to use. And then in case you want to incorporate change theories, effective communication, you are most welcome to do that.
Even if I'm on traveling or this thing, I will be back before 8 o'clock, ma'am. So I'll have my turn third or
Yeah, you can see it's 5 minutes each, everybody. So whosoever will be present, we will start with that. As and when you are joining, you can do that.
yes, ma'am.
But it's a 1 hour session, so try and join at 7:30. Yeah, for the office goers, I'm not saying, but for everybody else.
Yeah, ma'am. Even we'll try.
Okay, that's the reason why we have categorized or why we have divided into 2 sessions, is that at least we join on time. All right then, see you next week, Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Happy weekend and happy
You too. Have a good Sunday.
all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.